Hey there, I'm Steve Adderholt, Race Director of Cocodona. Welcome to another info session for Cocodona. Hope the training is going well for the race. We are less than 3 months away now. I hope you're as excited as we are. Today we have a bunch of great things to go through, some information and some introductions to great organizations. So what we're going to talk about today, first we're going to introduce Austin with Catula, who is our contact over at Catula, who's a great partner of Cocodona. We're going to introduce Carrie with Wilderness Volunteers and talk about their great mission and the partnership with the race. We're going to talk about a trail work day that we have organized, a training run for the first 37 miles of the course. That's arguably the crux of the race. We're going to go through a bunch of details and updates for all three race distances, the 250, the 125, and the 36 miler. And then we're going to talk with Gnarly about some of their great nutrition products that will be at the race. So that's what we're going to cover today. So first, why don't we go ahead and welcome in both Catula and Wilderness Volunteers. See if we can get this right here. Hey there. Welcome. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Sure. Yeah. Hey, I'm Austin. I've been working for Catula for a little under a year now. Yeah, I'm a trail runner myself and just been really excited and inspired by Cocodona. So we're excited to be partnering again with the second year.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you as well, Austin. Yeah. And Carrie.
Hi, I'm Carrie Henderson. I'm the Executive Director for Wilderness Volunteers. I've been with Wilderness Volunteers for a little over a year, and I'm really excited to talk about what an incredible organization it is and all the opportunities to give back to the trails that we all use and wild places we all love. I ran Cocodona last year, and I'm coming back for more this year.
Sweet. Yeah. That's awesome. So, these two organizations I have found are already working together outside of the Cocodona race. So Catula supports Wilderness Volunteers in their efforts. So it's a small industry, our trail running industry. We're all connected, and these are two great organizations that we're proud to partner with at Cocodona. So Austin, why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of the history of Catula, the brand, what products you have, that sort of thing. Why don't you tell us about Cocodona, or Catula, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So Catula is based in Flagstaff, Arizona, born and raised here. Our owner, Danny, grew up here, and him and his family, are really, really big into product design and have always been kind of, creating things their whole lives. So the company started back when Danny and his brother Mike were out on a climbing trip in the Italian Dolomites. And as they were descending down from their successful day climbing, Danny actually slipped on a patch of ice. They were just in climbing shoes and slid about 600 feet and had kind of a near-death experience. And ever since then, he basically was inspired to create a product that could allow people to, safely maneuver through the mountains on ice and snow. And so from that fall, he did survive. He actually was totally fine, but it just left this lasting impression on him. So basically, he created this thing called the KTS crampon. So it was a device that was used to that you put on your foot, you know, like a regular crampon. However, this crampon is flexible, so you can use it on like any type of footwear, which was kind of a new thing at the time. And so you don't have to be wearing big technical mountaineering boots. So basically, he wanted to create something that was packable, light, and, you know, something that people can use to really stay safe. That was kind of the biggest, you know, thing, and be able to like allow people to get where they want to go. And so that was back in 1999. The company was technically founded in 1999. It was actually a few years before that when he was working on his prototypes and stuff for the KTS crampon. So it's, you know, coming up on 24 years in the fall of this year. And so now the company has expanded into winter traction devices like stretch-on traction, which is probably what most people know us for the micro spikes, and then gaiters. So like hiking, running, you know, backpacking gaiters, kind of have a lot of different types. And so that's kind of where the inspiration for the products and kind of how the company started. And, you know, our mission is really to, you know, make the outdoors more accessible and rewarding for everybody. So, you know, we want to be able to, it's really just to get people outside and help them do what they want to do. And so on top of that, you know, for us, products are one thing, but really there's a lot more to Kotula than just our products. So Danny realized we kind of have like a greater purpose than just, you know, also creating this product that can allow people to get outside and safely travel on trails and ice and snow and all that. So basically he has created several things within the company that give back to the world and people, and there's a specific focus to that. We have the Kotula Philanthropy Program, which is a program that we donate 1% of our annual revenue through grants to support indigenous cultures, environmental responsibility organizations, and outdoor community. And so basically any organization like Wilderness Volunteers can apply for these grants, and we can award them money basically to for whatever projects that they're needing it for. And so there's been, you know, throughout the years, several, you know, organizations that we work with consistently. And then there's some that we also, you know, are new that it changes every year because we do them quarterly. And then, so another big thing of Kotula, which is really what stuck out to me that we could connect Kotula with Cocodona, is of this idea of the positive potential of people. So this is something that, you know, our owner Danny came up with, and he, you know, it's really been a big focus of the company, and it's something we talk about a lot. And so basically, we kind of celebrate human-powered movement and the positive power of shared outdoor experiences with each other. And so Cocodona is a perfect example of that, as like, you know, people like just pushing themselves to the limit, like, you know, really what is their potential, you know, and how is it a positive impact in the world. And to me, you know, I saw it firsthand. My first year, the first year of Cocodona, I volunteered to film during the live stream, and I followed Michael Versteeg up Eldon filming the live stream. And ever since then, I just thought it was such a cool race. I followed it, you know, the whole time during the live stream, and I was just totally hooked. And so luckily last year I came on at Kotula and was able to, you know, convince them to partner with Cocodona and keep this going. And you know, and last year one of our shipping associates, Tyler Welch, he ran Cocodona and excuse me, and did really well. That was his first 250-mile race. He only had run 100-mile before that, and so it was like a perfect way for us to kind of, you know, connect Kotula with Cocodona. And lastly, I mean, just to touch on some more aspects outside of, you know, the products and such, is our focus on sustainability. So we actually are a carbon neutral company. So we figured out, we calculated all of our emissions, in 2021, and started calculating how we can create programs, and we can invest our money to be able to offset all of our carbon footprint. So we also have all solar panels at our headquarters. So we use 100% solar power at our headquarters, and with all that money invested, we're able to say that we are a carbon neutral company. And in the long run, hopefully we can get to a point where we'll be carbon negative, but that's still in the process. But we do have, a big focus on that in the company as well. And, being in Flagstaff as well, conservation is a huge part of that as well. With our Cocodona philanthropy program, a lot of that money is invested into programs that can help, protect the environment. And, there's so much incredible land around Flagstaff, and we're super passionate about it, like the Grand Canyon, and for example, the uranium mining that is trying to be pushed towards that. We definitely have a strong stance against that, and things like that can, interrupt people enjoying the great outdoors. And so I guess, all that to say is that, we just are really inspired by the outdoors and people and indigenous cultures, and we just want to be able to give back and allow people to, safely be outside and, travel all year round. So that's kind of, the quick spiel, I guess. But, there's a lot to it, and I know it's a lot of information, but we're just really excited to be partnering with Cocodona again. And I know I'm super excited to be part of it and just see all the incredible stories that come out of it again. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks, Austin. Yeah, we're super excited to have you guys on board as a partner as well. It seems like there are so many parallels with what we're trying to accomplish at Cocodona and what the spirit of the race is alongside Cocodona. That's awesome. And man, I've been using your winter traction for a long time. It's the best. I love that I can just run across a sheet of ice, even at a slope, and it's I have total confidence to just keep going in the snow and the ice. It's awesome, and I can't wait to try out the gators as well. So great products. It's awesome that we are both supporting wilderness volunteers. It sounds like that you guys have been supporting wilderness volunteers for multiple years. This is our second year for Cocodona to partner with wilderness volunteers, and hopefully we can make it a longer partnership still. I love the carbon neutral, sustainable goal that you guys have achieved. That's amazing for a company. We do. I probably should do a better job touting what we do at Cocodona to be as sustainable as we can, but I'd rather just take the effort instead of talk about it. I'd rather just do it.
Sure.
So I think that's great. Obviously what Cocodona is doing, and then the support of indigenous cultures is also awesome to hear. We just awarded 2 scholarships to run Cocodona to 2 native runners. We're really stoked to see them on the course. So it seems like there are so many parallels with your great organization and Cocodona. So we're just couldn't ask for a better partnership. So thanks for helping support the race, and thanks for that info. Carrie, why don't we switch gears a little bit? Why don't you tell us a little bit about Wilderness Volunteers and the trips and the organizations and everything you got going on?
Yeah, thanks. So Wilderness Volunteers is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission is to connect people with meaningful service opportunities that can serve and protect America's wild places. So we plan week-long volunteer service projects in cooperation with public land management agencies. So that's national parks, national forests, BLM land, et cetera. And we do a wide variety of work, a lot of trail work, building new trails, invasive species removal, restoration work, archaeological surveys, et cetera, et cetera. We were also founded in Flagstaff 26 years ago in 1997. And our founders created the organization to have an affordable option for people to have these opportunities. There are a lot of organizations out there who do volunteer vacations that bring people out into the outdoors to do this type of work. But those costs are just increasing and increasing. And so a big part of our mission is keeping our projects really affordable for people. So we've only raised our project costs like 3 times in 25 years. It's very low still. And we also have scholarship opportunities for people who have cost as a barrier. So yeah, it's just our mission to get as many people as possible out there, giving back to the places that they recreate in, the places that they're passionate about. And all of us definitely understand that. I mean, I would say like 98% of my free time personally is spent out on the trails or, out camping and, doing things like that. So it's been amazing to work for an organization that really does impactful work for our public lands, and give something back. Something really like special about our projects too is the amount of work we get done in a week or, in a day. We'll talk about our trail work day in a little bit, but it's really rewarding for people to be able to visually see their impact at the end of the day or the end of the week, and to hear feedback from, like I said, national parks, national forests that we love so much, saying, this is incredible. We've needed this trail to be maintained for 10 years and like you finally did it. So it's a very rewarding experience, doing trail work and the other types of work that we do. So we have this year 37 projects on our calendar so far. We'll probably add a few more throughout the year. We have 4 projects in Arizona, 3 in Alaska, 1 in Hawaii, literally everywhere in between. About half of our projects, or maybe a little more than half, are front country projects. So that's camping in a designated or dispersed campground. The other projects are backcountry, so actually backpacking into a home base. Some of those have pack support, others don't. So there's a wide variety of opportunities for different fitness levels, different parts of the country. And so it's a really incredible opportunity. I encourage everybody out there to take a look at our website and see if any of our project locations speak to you. And if you're able to join, it's truly like a life-changing experience, I think.
Huh. Yeah, awesome. That so you said 37 trips, mm-hmm. all over the U.S. or all over the world?
All over the U.S.
Great. Okay. And to beautiful locations, I'm sure, all of them.
Yes.
And so most of these are multi-day. Are you talking 3 days, 5 days? What's a typical trip length?
Yeah, a typical trip is basically a week. So we meet on a Sunday, kind of get camp set up, and then it's 4 full work days. So we work Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is a free day. So volunteers have the whole day to, hike, explore. If it's a front country project, you can hop in your car and like go into town and get a beer, do whatever you want. And then we work Thursday, Friday, and wrap up on Saturday. So we are adding a few shorter projects starting this year, just to accommodate younger people who work full time and have a tough time using, a full week of PTO to come on a project. So be on the lookout for those shorter projects. We will have one in Southern Arizona this fall, but for the most part, our projects are a week.
Awesome. Okay. So about a week, you're doing trail work in a beautiful place, and you have some time to recreate. This sounds awesome. What's the typical trip cost that the participant has to pay to come on
Yeah,
board?
the cost is $375, and that includes all of your food for a week. We have volunteer leaders who run most of our projects. So that's, I guess, one thing I kind of forgot to mention. Our organization is really tiny. We have 2 paid staff. So a majority of those 37 trips are led by volunteer leaders. So our organization is truly like grassroots, built on volunteers. So partnerships like this really are impactful for us and our tiny budget. So we're very appreciative to both Cotulla and Cocodona for partnering with us to make our projects possible. So yeah, that project fee covers all of the food as well as volunteer accident insurance, first aid, camping, cooking supplies, things like that.
Man, it seems like you're actually saving money by going on a trip, because the cost of food alone is almost that much for just regular life. So so really low trip cost, and sounds like an amazing experience, and giving back, which as trail runners, we enjoy the outdoors, we enjoy the trails so much, but we're not the best at setting aside time to give back for trail work, trail maintenance, volunteer groups. So awesome. These trips sound so great, Carrie. I'll throw up a slide that has your website, but it's wildernessvolunteers.org. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, I encourage everybody to go on and check out all the awesome trips, sign up for a trip to give back. So yeah, thanks, Carrie. That's great. I can't wait to go on a trip myself. I just got to find one that fits with the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So let's talk now about the upcoming trail work day. So all 3 of us here on the screen have worked together for the next 2 items that we're going to talk about. One is the trail work day, and one's the training run day. So first, the trail work day, February 25th. That's Saturday. The date that we're filming this, we're about 2 weeks out, but this is going to come out soon, so it's coming up quick. We're going to be working in Oak Creek Canyon in the Sedona area. Specifically, we're going to be doing erosion control work and watershed restoration. The thing that I'm the most excited about is it's kind of going to be a full weekend, and Carrie recommended that we do it this way. I'm super stoked that we did. It's not just a full day of trail work, which we'll do a full day of trail work, but we've also we've been given the Chavez campground just right inside Sedona, so that we can camp there it's included. So it's free to everybody who comes to join. So that's Saturday night after the trail work. And then Sunday, we're going to go for a run on part of the course of Cocodona and maybe even one of the trails that we work on Saturday. So Sunday morning, after we get up from the campground, we'll make our way over and do a trail run up from Oak Creek Canyon up to the top of the Kasner Canyon Trail, and then loop back around. So it'll be about a 15-mile loop is what we're going to do on Sunday. So, Carrie, do you want to tell us about either what we're going to do or the organization that we're partnering with, and what people can expect as they show up?
Yeah, I'd love to. So we are partnering with an environmental engineering consulting firm called Natural Channel Design, as well as with Coconino National Forest. Wilderness Volunteers actually had a week-long project partnering with Natural Channel Design in Oak Creek Canyon this past October. So we spent a week doing the type of work that we'll be doing on February 25th. And I'm super excited as someone who is a local to this area and sees the threat to Oak Creek Canyon. This is a really meaningful project. Oak Creek Canyon sees over 2 million visitors every year. And for those of you out there who spend time in Sedona or Oak Creek Canyon, especially during the summer, and drive that 12-mile stretch through the canyon, you've seen the impact firsthand of dozens, if not hundreds of cars pulled over anywhere they can fit in, and people, just kind of bombing down straight to the creek. So that increase in visitation over the years has created about 400 unsanctioned social trails that lead from the road or a parking area straight down to the creek. There should be about 25 legal sanctioned trails. So there are way, way, way too many. Social trails are basically vectors of pollution. When people create and use social trails, they bring with them sediment from the road and micro trash, and all of that makes its way down into the water. So the increase in erosion and sedimentation really decreases the water quality of Oak Creek Canyon. There's very high levels of E. coli in Oak Creek Canyon. So those of you running Cocodona, don't drink the water.
Filter first.
Yeah, filter first. So it's a huge problem. It's really dangerous for the native plants and animals that rely on the creek for survival. It's obviously really bad as users, as recreators. So this project is aiming to limit the negative human impact and erosion that's caused by these social trails. So we'll be doing a couple things. We'll be closing some of the unsanctioned social trails. So basically using like brush, limbs and things like that have been cut down from nearby trees, and like physically like closing them, brushing them out so you can't see that there was once a trail. And we'll also be creating some watershed management features. There are things called like rock dams that we'll build that will essentially slow that flow of sedimentation to the water. So these features will basically catch micro trash and the sediment from the road before it's able to make its way down to the creek. So it's a really important project. It's an ongoing project that Natural Channel Design has been working on for years and will continue working on for years. So I'm really excited that we get the opportunity to work with them and have this huge impact. And like I said before, it is so rewarding. And I hope that people who volunteer with us on the 25th will see this, that after we're done, it is incredible to like look around and see like, wow, there were 10 illegal trails in this area and we literally can't see any of them now. So I really hope that people come out and volunteer with us and have an impact on, Oak Creek Canyon is a treasure. It's beautiful and we need to protect it.
Yeah, sweet. It is very beautiful. We're lucky that we get to cross Oak Creek Canyon. It's a little bit of a respite from the heat during the race to cross the really nice, cool Oak Creek, in the race. So it's about mile 175 or so. So yeah, if you're running Cocodona, you're definitely going to get your feet wet and cross through. So yeah, we're stoked to be able to give back in an area that the race is going. So thanks, Carrie, for helping us set that up. And it sounds like it's going to be a really fun weekend. A Saturday full trail work day. Then we're going to go camp out and have a couple of beers and sit around and chat. A bunch of folks hopefully camping out with us, and then Sunday go for a trail run. And it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So some more of the details for us. We're going to meet at Indian Gardens Cafe on February 25th. That's a Saturday morning at 8:45. Give us a few minutes to kind of congregate and decide if we're going to park there and walk or if we're going to shuttle over. But 8:45, Indian Gardens Cafe. There is a Facebook event created, and a few people have signed up so far. We encourage you to go sign up so that we can coordinate last minute details, and so we also have an idea who's going to go. Again, that's a Facebook event. It's on the Cocodona 250 Runners Facebook page, so go ahead and join. That you're gonna come join us Saturday, February 25th for that trail work day, and then Sunday the 26th for the run. So sweet. So that's our trail work day that's coming up.
Can I add a couple?
Oh
reminders?
yeah, please. Yeah.
So if you are coming out to volunteer, just a reminder to wear closed-toed shoes. We do recommend wearing long pants or at least like a sun hoodie, a sun shirt, long sleeves, and a hat. Bring lots of water. We will have work gloves that we can provide, but if you have your own, feel free to bring those. And we'll be providing all the tools and everything else you need. But closed-toed shoes are a must, or you can't come.
Sweet. Yeah. Great. Great bit of details. Thanks for saying that. And then Austin, are we gonna see you out there as well?
Oh yeah, I'll be recovering from the Black Canyon
Awesome.
100K, but so I might be waddling a little bit. But yeah, I'll definitely be there.
Oh, good. I'm excited for that. Sweet. So that's our trail work day coming up on February 25th. We also want to talk about the training run that we have for Cocodona coming out. This training run is really only for registered participants of the Cocodona 250. We say that because we have a limited space for the number of people that can join us on this training run. Because this section is really, the section that we're going to do the training run on is really remote. The shuttle is a really long shuttle. So we are providing shuttles for the runners, and that's really the crux of why we have to limit it to participants of the 250 only. So that's coming up on Saturday, April 1st. There is a registration and a payment to participate. You can go through the Cocodona website and go through the shop tab, and then it's where our merchandise sales are. You'll see a registration for the training run on Saturday, April 1st. So let's talk a little bit about the details of this training run. It is the first 37 miles of the course, so the start line to climbing up to Crown King. And as I said earlier, it's arguably the hardest section of the course. Now, granted, you're going 250 miles, so there may be a section that's tougher for you, but arguably this really is the crux of the race, I feel like, for multiple reasons. Carrie, you've run Cocodona. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this section and what you experienced in this first 37 miles in your experience?
Sure. So I did the training run last year, and it was hard as promised. And then, last year the course was changed about a week and a half.
Ah, that's right. You didn't. Yeah, that's right.
Wildfire. So it was pretty funny. The two sections of the course that I got on last year before the race, we didn't run. But having run the rest of the course, you are correct. I would say that this is the hardest section. It's honestly pretty brutal. It's just so exposed, sun exposed. It's hot. A lot of us are training obviously through the winter in some cold climates. So it's a little bit of a shock in that way. It's rocky and steep and not the most fun, but the training run definitely made me feel a lot more confident going into the race, even though we didn't end up running that section. But I really, really encourage people to come out for the training run.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I had totally forgotten that I've tried to block it out from my memory that we had to reroute, 80 miles of the course the week before the race because of the Crooks fire. But yeah, so you didn't get to experience that section during the race, but you did in the training run. So this year we'll get you out there for sure. So yeah, as Carrie said, this section, it's just really hard. It's exposed to the sun. It's, it'll be hot April 1st for the training run, but in the first week of May, it's going to be even hotter, being a month later. Yeah, it is very exposed. It's loose. It's steep up and down. You're on cobble-sized rocks. Seems like the whole time, slipping up and down, and a lot of climbing to get up to Crown King. So And there's really, there's no water to speak of. There might be for the training run. You might cross a creek a couple of times, but when the race happens in May, that's all dried up. So I'm going to describe the section a little bit. It's 11 miles to the first aid station. For the training run, the aid station will consist of Aravaipa will provide water, but then we'll also have your drop bag. So you give us a drop bag, we'll have it there for you at aid station number 1, which is about 11 miles into the course. And then during the race, we'll have in another 12-mile or so section, we'll have a water station where it's 1 liter fill. So you can fill up 1 liter of water at that location. It's extremely remote. We have to bring the water in by mule. We won't have that water for you during the training run, but just FYI for the race, you'll have that. And then once you get up to the top and get up to a little bit cooler spots, we'll have another aid station for you on this training run. That is about mile 33. That's the Lane Mountain Aid Station. We'll be there with water and your drop bags again. And then mile 37, just a few miles down the road to Crown King. So really important for runners, I feel like, to get out on this section before the race. A lot of people traveling. Last year we had people from Canada and all over the United States participating in this training run. They felt like it was a big help to get to know this section, even though we didn't end up running on it last year. We will this year. So a few more details, and then we'll get back to Austin and Carrie and wrap this section up. But you have two. So as I mentioned earlier, hard logistical stretch for this race. We will be running shuttles. So that you don't have to self-shuttle. That's really the crux for why this training run is so hard to do on your own. So we'll have two options. You can either park a car at Crown King, which is where the end of this training run takes place, or you can park a car at the start where we're going to start this training run, and we'll shuttle you either back to your car or you'll be at your car at the finish. We'll shuttle you to the start line. So two options for this. If you go on to register, as I said, Cocodona, and go to the shop tab to buy merchandise, that's where this registration is, where you can purchase registration for this race. These details will also be coming out to anybody who registers, but just I've had a few questions. How will the shuttle work? So the shuttle will meet at 4:30 a.m. in Crown King, right in front of the Crown King Saloon. So 4:30 a.m. the day of the training run, Saturday, April 1st. And we'll take anybody who wants to meet there at Crown King, leave your car there, and we'll shuttle you to the start. And the other option is meet at 6 a.m. at the start, which is the start for the race, or very close to the start, rather. It's at Rock Springs Cafe in their parking lot is where we'll meet at 6 a.m. At that point, we'll get everybody's drop bags from you. You just need one drop bag. We'll take it to both locations, mile 11 and mile 33. And the second option for shuttle is to park at that starting area at Rock Springs Cafe, and then we'll start at 6:30 from that parking lot. Run the first 37 miles of the course. It takes people a lot longer to finish this section than you would think. Last year we had the first finishers coming in about 4:30 p.m. So we start at 6:30. They were finishing about 4:30 p.m. The first runners, all the way to the last finisher came in around 11:30 at night. So when you're done, you're either, if you took option 1 and parked at Crown King, your car is there waiting for you. And option 2 would be, we'll have 2 shuttles from the finish in Crown King all the way back around to the start line. As soon as we fill up one shuttle, we'll take that shuttle down, and then as soon as everybody is in around 11:30 at night, we'll shuttle everybody back. So if you, the benefit to taking the morning shuttle from Crown King is that you're right there at your car when you finish, and you can leave whenever you finish. The downside is that you got to meet at 4:30 in the morning up at Crown King to do the shuttle. The benefit to the other one is you get started right away. You park and you can get started right there at 6:30 in the morning. The downside is you got to wait until you've got enough people to fill the shuttle, and we shuttle you back. So it could be a late night. Now I think, Austin, is it correct that participants who run this training run are going to get a goodie from Cocodona? Is that right?
Yeah. So we're going to offer any participants of the training run a free pair of gaiters. So those will most likely be our instigators, which are our kind of low profile, ultra lightweight running gaiters. And we have a couple different types of gaiters, but to me, I think those are a great option for athletes that are taking on Cocodona. We can also offer the Renegators, and we'll kind of figure that out on what we end up choosing to give you guys, but maybe it'll be a nice little surprise. But the Renegators are kind of more of like our ultra tough hiking running gaiters. So just a little more durable fabric, and either are going to be great. They'll last a long time, and for a race like Cocodona, got to keep your feet like in good condition, otherwise it's going to be bad news. So
yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Keeping your feet in as good a condition is key to being able to finish a long race like this, and keeping that dust and dirt and little pebbles out of your shoes with gaiters is essential. So yeah, you're right on. Awesome. So yeah, come out and run with us for the training run Saturday, April 1st, and get a pair of Cocodona gaiters. That's awesome. And Cocodona has also helped offset some of the expenses for us to put this training run on, and as a result, we're able to provide a fairly large donation for the proceeds of the training run to Wilderness Volunteers. So yeah, thanks Cocodona, and thanks Wilderness Volunteers for helping us out. We're happy to kind of have this all benefit everyone, the runners, Cocodona, and Wilderness Volunteers. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excited to suffer out there again.
Yeah. Sweet. You're going to be out there with us again?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. Well, sweet. Thank you so much both for joining us. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your support of Cocodona. You guys have a great day, and I guess see you both soon at the Trail Work Day.
All right.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having us.
Steve.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about details for Cocodona. So we're going to do these info sessions periodically for Cocodona to give you guys the latest and greatest as details come out about the race. So let's talk a little bit more about some details of the race before Gnarly joins us in. So one thing about Cocodona, the 250 distance that's different than in previous years is our holding area at Bumblebee Ranch. So for crews after your runners start in at Rock Springs Cafe, there is a mandatory holding area for crews before they head up to Crown King to support their runner at Aid Station 3 at Crown King. So what that means, after your runners start, you all the crews will kind of get gathered up, packed up, and start their way to drive up to Crown King. Now, Crown King is about an hour and a half drive from the start line. It's going to take runners, 10 or so at least hours to get up to Crown King. So you have many hours to kill before you need to be up at Aid Station 3 to meet your runners. I would love it if we could all just go up to Crown King and, hang out up there. Unfortunately, Crown King is a small area, and there's not a lot of parking, so we need to release crews periodically to go up there. They can't all go up at once. So we've partnered with the Bumblebee Ranch, which is directly on the way to Crown King. We'll have directions directions to Bumblebee Ranch from the start line are in the runner pack on the runner guide. But basically, your crew will leave the start line, drive about 30 minutes to Bumblebee Ranch. There'll be food and drinks being served at Bumblebee Ranch. We'll have the live stream going. We'll also have runner tracking going. So we'll be watching the runners progress along the course. And as each runner by bib number gets to a certain point on the course, we will release that crew to go up to Crown King. Now, it's really important that we have crews stop and wait at Bumblebee Ranch and not drive straight to Crown King. We will release those crews with enough time to get up to Crown King to meet their runner. So you got about an hour drive from Bumblebee Ranch up to Crown King. You meet your runner up there. You give them support. Hang out as long as that runner's up there. And then as soon as your runner leaves, we need you to leave Crown King as well. Now, the next location that crews can support their runners is at Friendly Pines. Friendly Pines is mile 71 approximately of the course. So it's going to take your runners a long time to get from mile 37 to mile 71, Friendly Pines. And crews have to drive all the way back down from the Bradshaw Mountains and then all the way around to Prescott and then up to Friendly Pines. So they have a long drive to get all the way around, but for front of the pack to mid pack runners, your crew should go ahead and make its way around and to Friendly Pines or to Whiskey Row if they're going to support your runners at either one of those locations. You will have some time, but you should go ahead and get around there. For mid to the back of the pack runners, your crew will have plenty of time before they can see you again. So you can actually go back to Bumblebee Ranch. Bumblebee Ranch has camping facilities there. You can book either plug-in or dry camping spaces. So check out the camping section of the runner guide. That's a great place to go and hang out to wait for your runner to arrive at the next location. So new for this year is the holding area at Bumblebee Ranch. It is required for all crews to not drive straight up to Crown King. Okay, next thing to talk about is a change again for the 250 runners. Mile 63, Camp Kippa. So we have an aid station at Camp Kippa. It is kind of the highest point in the Bradshaw. So once you reach Camp Kippa, it's mostly downhill all the way down into Whiskey Row, which is mile 79. So you've done a lot of climbing. It takes runners much longer to get those first 63 miles of the course under the belt than you would think. And so we do have we are adding a sleep station at Camp Kippa. It is a camp, so they have bunk rooms. So we will have bunk rooms for sleeping. We will not have the ability for runners to have drop bags, and you can't meet pacers and crew. It's not a pacer crew access aid station. So you won't be able to have a drop bag with blanket or a sleeping bag. But we will have blankets at that location. So, if it's taking you longer than expected and you just really need a few hours of sleep, we'll have blankets. We will have a sleep station at Camp Kippa. That's new for the 250 miler this year. And then the next aid station is mile 71 at Friendly Pines. Again, that's has been and will be a sleeping aid station as well, and a bunkhouses. We will have drop bags, pacer, and crew access at that location. We'll have a sleeping station at the next aid station as well, mile 79 at Whiskey Row. Same thing, pacer and crew access and drop bags as well. So you got kind of three options right in a row. The first one that we've added is Camp Kippa for that sleep station. More remote, like I said, no drop bags, but if the race is taking you a lot longer than you expected, then we'll have that option for you. Okay, the next thing is this is for both Cocodona 250 and the Sedona Canyons 125 mile. So Schnebley Hill Aid Station, which for the 250 is mile 180, and it's mile 55 for the 125 mile course. We are adding that as a drop bag location and pacer and crew access. So we got some feedback in previous years that the Schnelby Hill Aid Station, it's just a really long stretch from Sedona to Munns Park. It's 27 miles, so we didn't have crew access or crew pacer access or drop bags last year, so we are adding that in. So Schnebley Hill, mile 180 of the 250 and mile 55 of the 125. Schnebley Hill is being added in for drop bags, pacer, and crew access. So hopefully that makes your job as runners a little bit easier and gives a little bit more access for pacers and crew. So that's a change for this year. Want to talk a little bit about shuttles. So we've had a number of questions come up, mainly around the 125 mile distance and the 36 mile distance. I don't have this information yet in the runner packet, but it will be coming out soon. So let's get into the details of shuttles. So shuttles for the 250 mile race, we will have a shuttle from the airport, the Phoenix airport, to the start line on Sunday. So Sunday from the airport, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, to the start line. You can go through check-in. You can turn in your drop bags. You can receive your bib. Take care of all that needs to be taken care of on Sunday at the start line. We do have camping available for free at the start line, so you can camp out on Sunday night, and then the race starts 5 a.m. on Monday morning. We will have the availability to drop bags at the start that will go directly to the finish line. We ask that you keep those drop bags to 60 liters, which is about the size of a small duffel bag, 2 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot approximately. So you can have a tent in there and a sleeping bag so that you can camp at the start line and then drop that drop bag that'll go directly to the finish line. We'll also have shuttles for the 250 miler that will go from a parking area in Flagstaff very close to the finish line, and it will go directly to the start line on Sunday. Kind of the same deal. Park your car at the finish line parking lot. On Sunday, we'll shuttle you to the start line where you can go through check-in. We'll have camping available, as I said, at the start line. And then Saturday, you get started, you can drop a drop bag that will go directly to the finish line. And then your car will be within walking distance of the finish line whenever you finish the race. Very similar shuttle setup for the 125 miler. So the Sedona Canyons 125, we will have a shuttle on Tuesday evening from the parking area in Flagstaff that will take you to the start line in Jerome. We will have you go through the check-in process there on Tuesday evening to check into the 125 miler, and then there's camping overnight at that venue, at the start line venue. And then again, you can drop a drop bag that'll go directly to the finish line. So you can drop your camping gear in a drop bag. It'll be at the finish line waiting for you. Details on purchase shuttle tickets will be coming out soon, and details of the times and locations for parking areas and times for those shuttles will be coming out. A little bit different shuttle setup for the Eldon Crest 36 miler. We'll do that. We're going to do check-in for that race on Thursday evening. Haven't yet determined the location for that check-in. But then Friday we'll have a shuttle from the parking area Friday morning before the race, from the parking area near the finish line to the start line. You can go through your your final check-in for the race before we get started at 7 a.m. and then your car will be waiting for you near the finish line. So those are the shuttle options that we have for each of the 3 races. Details on that, as I said, will be coming out in the runner guide soon. So that is our the basics of our updates for the Cocodona series of races for this installment of the Inspo session. But now we have a great session that we've added on. We've got Gnarly. Shannon with Gnarly is going to join us and talk a little bit about the products that we'll have at the race, about the Gnarly brand. And so without further ado, let me get Shannon in to join us here. Hey there, Shannon. How are you?
Hey, Steve. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your story at Gnarly? How long have you been with Gnarly, and what is your role there?
Sure. I've been with Gnarly about 7 years now. I started in product development and now handle everything pretty much that product starts. So get the pleasure of working with athletes and customers to help find new products to develop, work with our manufacturers to make that happen, and have recently been working real hard on improving the sustainability of our packaging. So trying to make sure that the brand leaves a smaller footprint in all the beautiful places that we all love to run and play.
Sweet. That's awesome. Yeah. I love how the canisters now are recyclable. That's awesome. So I'd love to see that change towards more sustainable products. That's great.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a challenge, but we've got to start trying to make a difference where we can.
Yeah, it's easy, not just talking about Gnarly products and the sustainability of Gnarly, but in general in life, it's easy to get discouraged of like, man, we're kind of going to hell in a handbasket, and I have so much environmental impact. Every person has so much environmental impact. We just got to start with the next thing that we can do and just keep chipping away at the things we can do. So it's great to hear that you guys at Gnarly are doing that work as well.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, for sure. Well, tell us about the Gnarly story. How did it come to be? What's the goal of the company? Tell us a bit about Gnarly.
Sure. I think the founders initially saw this gap between products that were formulated with good natural ingredients and products that were marketed towards athletes, and particularly a gap in products marketed towards mountain athletes. And so they wanted to make products that tasted good, that also had ingredients that consumers could trust. So that was the idea behind it. We have kind of gone a step forward with getting certifications like NSF. That is a third party that tests for label claims and contaminants and substances that are on the World Anti-Doping Agency list, and also being really transparent with how we label. So not using proprietary blends, and making sure that we're being clear in terms of telling consumers what products will do, what they contain, not making crazy statements, that we're really using research and science to formulate our products, and also to inform how we talk about what those products could do for an athlete.
Awesome. Yeah, and just FYI, if you haven't tried Gnarly products, Shannon, you mentioned taste. The taste is so good of all of your products, but I mean, I specifically the vegan chocolate mix is my favorite thing. I start my day every day with your vegan chocolate mix. It's amazing. So yeah. So the taste, you're right. Yeah.
The vegan vanilla is my favorite. So
cool.
I like the chocolate as well, but yeah, we're on the same page there. I think our vegan protein is like top of class in terms of taste and mixability, and
yeah, it is.
It's a good one.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so tell us about the products that you're going to have available at Cocodona. So we'll have Gnarly products at every aid station, so that our runners know what we have. What are you going to have for us at the aid stations?
Yeah, so we'll have our Gnarly Fuel 2.0, which is our endurance nutrition. It is a source of electrolytes, a source of calories, and then we also have a compound called HMB in there, which is related to the amino acid leucine, which people may have heard of. Branch chain amino acids, they can help, in this context, minimize muscle protein breakdown, which can be helpful for recovery after endurance events are kind of like this consistent, experience in a caloric deficit. And when we're in caloric deficits, we start breaking down our muscles. That's what leads to, that delayed onset muscle soreness and, the trouble walking down stairs that we all feel when we do long events. So having HMB in there can help minimize that. By no means would it help, completely stop that, especially after something like, Cocodona. But when you take Fuel 2.0, you're getting all of those things. So the calories from the carbohydrate sources, sucrose and glucose, by using two forms of carbohydrates, minimizes the risk of gut distress. And then sodium is the primary electrolyte in Fuel 2.0, but we also have magnesium, potassium, and chloride in there as well. The flavor is going to be our limeade flavor, which is one of the caffeine-free Fuel 2.0 flavors, and that flavor will be at all the aid stations.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, the Fuel 2.0 caffeine-free limeade. Love that the limeade flavor is awesome. Okay, so that's great to know for runners to know what to train with. I think for a race of this distance, you really don't want to try something new, or you can be scared to try something new. So I would encourage runners to train with the Fuel 2.0. How can runners? Is there a discount that runners can order to train with for Cocodona? How can they order?
Yeah, if you go to gognarly.com, you can use the discount code PUSH250, so PUSH 250, and that'll get you 20% off your order. We have the Fuel 2.0 in 30 serving bags. We have boxes of 10 stick packs, and each one of those stick packs has 2 servings in it. So 2 servings will get you 200 calories per 20 to 24 ounces of fluid. And then we also have a sampler bundle of all 3 of our flavors. So the limeade is what will be on course once again, but then we also have a tropical flavor. And then we have a cherry cola flavor, which is my personal favorite, which has a little bit of caffeine in it. So it's 30 milligrams per 100 calories. So those stick packs would have double that because it's 2 servings per stick pack. So that code would work on any of those, whether or not you want to stick with the limeade, or maybe you want to try some other flavors to bring on your training runs and potentially the race day as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think, not only having the electrolytes, which you're definitely going to need, anytime you're running a long distance, but in this race particular, you have some really hot sections. So, having that electrolyte replacement is essential in whatever form you ingest it. But, having the calories too, you're, like you said, you're always in a calorie deficit. So having those calories also in the mix is great, especially if at a certain time in the race you're probably going to be having some stomach issues. So being able to ingest that through your liquid, is key. How would you advise runners to train with either during the race or train with leading up to the race? How would you use that in kind of cold weather, hot weather for training? What do you have any tips or advice that you would offer for somebody training for this race and competing in this race?
Yeah, I mean, you said it before, right? Nothing new on race day. And I think a lot of times when people hear that, they think of like new shoes or new like a chafing stick, like you don't want to try out the first time on race day. But I think that really applies most importantly to nutrition as well, because nutrition can either bring our training to the forefront, like we've worked so hard and our nutrition's going to be a small part of the equation, but it's going to really allow that to shine on race day, or it can quickly end our race if we, do something that our body doesn't like. And so figuring out, whether or not you want to get more calories from your fluid or more calories from solids, or what solids might work and how much fluid you need to take in in a given hour, so that over the long haul what you need to carry with you from aid station to aid station is important. And that's going to look different for everyone, depending on where you're training,
Right.
what kind of environment you're training in versus racing in. So it's really something that you have to figure out for yourself, and that mix might be different for everyone. So getting Fuel 2.0 and playing with it and seeing what proportion of your hourly caloric intake you want to come from fluids versus solids, I think is pretty important. We have some athletes who will mix the Fuel 2.0 super concentrated, so they might put 3 servings in 20 ounces of water, carry that in one water bottle, but then in the other water bottle have plain water, so that they'll get more calories in a gulp, but then they'll follow it with some plain water to really minimize the risk of gut distress, because it's when we're taking concentrated sugars all at once that we can potentially upset our GI system. So thinking about that, or if you want to just go with a more dilute form and make sure that you're getting a baseline level of calories consistently, and you're going to be relying on solids from somewhere else. So 2 different strategies, but both could work, and really figuring out what's going to work best for you is something to focus on during your training.
Yeah. Okay. Shannon, that's a great point. I mean, I feel like these long distance races are all about learning those lessons over time and dialing them in so you can finish. So yeah, I guess what runners need to do is order the Fuel 2.0, train with it, figure out what works for them, because we're going to have this great product available at the aid station. So train with it in advance and figure it out how it works best for you. Awesome. I would also encourage, we were talking about the protein mix. I would also highly encourage, after every long run that I do, I take in, your protein mix. It not only tastes great, but it's a great way to aid in recovery. I would have your crew or drop bags have that protein mix available, so you can, take that in periodically during the race and recover as you're running as well. I mean, we won't have that at the aid stations, but it's a great product. So I would recommend. You have any thoughts on recovering while you're running in a race like this and using that product?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when I'm thinking about how best to phrase this, but because it is 250 miles, speeds and intensities are going to be lower in order to accomplish, a distance of like the Cocodona. So you are able to take in some more complex foods like protein and higher amounts of fat while you're actually running. And so you're 100% right, Steve. This would be a great place to potentially use the vegan protein. We have a whey protein as well. Both of them come in stick packs, really easy, to put in your crew bags. So you can mix it up with water. They mix great with water. Obviously get exponentially better if you have access to, a blender and can throw some other stuff in there. But they mix great with water and would be a great way to get in some more calories and some more protein during your race, which you're 100% right, is going to help with recovery later on. So yeah, try out those as well if that's something that you're thinking about throwing into the mix. I definitely don't recommend trying protein on race day if you've never had protein during one of your longer training runs. But we do have a lot of athletes that love to use our vegan protein during longer days that are lower intensity.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Again, yeah, order it and train with it, I think is key. Just a little a pro tip. I mean, there are a million different types of milks out there, but oat milk is tastes so good.
It is my favorite also. You and I have the same breakfast routine. Yeah,
Yeah.
I use the oat milk too. I think it's got a little sweetness. It works really well with the vegan protein. It's definitely my favorite non-dairy milk.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. Cool. Are there any other gnarly products, Shannon, that we should know about that, maybe won't be at the race, but that runners can use to train with, or other gnarly products they should know about?
Sure. I kind of think of it as the sister product to Fuel 2.0. We have our Gnarly Hydrate, which is really more about getting water and electrolytes into your system. Does not have as high of calorie, content as our Fuel 2.0. This might be a product for folks that might be going on a shorter run and don't need to replace calories, but do need to replace electrolytes and hydrate. Or maybe you're getting a higher proportion of your calories from solid foods and just really want what you drink to be about getting water and electrolytes into your system. I also I think it tastes so good that it helps me stay hydrated throughout the day. So that's our Gnarly Hydrate. We have that in raspberry, grapefruit, and orange pineapple flavors. So that's a good one. A lot of runners and endurance athletes love that product. Another one that doesn't necessarily fall into the as you're running nutrition category, but I think is a good one for people to add is collagen. As runners, we put a lot of stress on our joints, and as we age, collagen synthesis, like most things as we age, declines. So it's that combination of the decline in collagen synthesis and the stress on musculoskeletal tissues, particularly if you have a joint that's already injured. There is some research showing that collagen can help with pain levels. It can help with rehab and potentially may help us, reduce the risk of injury, although that's really hard to measure in scientific studies. So gnarly collagen is great. It mixes really well. Important point I like to make with that is it's not in the same space as like our vegan or whey. It's not a good recovery protein, and really should be taken before you exercise, because then you're using the exercise and increased blood flow as a way to deliver those collagen peptides to your joints. So I always like to make that distinction, but I think that's a really good product for endurance athletes as well.
Cool. Okay. So we had, we put out there, we had a question come in via a social media post, and I think we've already addressed it, but I want to make sure. We had a runner ask if there will be caffeine or caffeine-free products at the race at aid stations. And I can't remember if we've addressed that already or not. Shannon?
Yeah, we did, but go ahead and say it again just because it's important to know what you're getting at an aid station. So it will be the Gnarly Fuel 2.0 Limeade, which is a caffeine-free version. We do have a caffeinated version of Fuel 2.0, but that will not be at the Cocodona aid stations.
Cool. Okay, good to know. Sweet. Anything else that you'd like to cover?
I think that's it. We just love this event and are so excited to be a part of it. So thanks for letting us support the runners, and happy training, everyone. Hope you're getting out there and enjoying the time outside.
Yeah, sweet. Well, Shannon, thank you. This is not the first year. We've partnered with Gnarly for multiple years now, and we love the partnership. We love the brand. We love the products. So we're happy to be able to offer Gnarly at the aid stations. And thanks for joining us today and giving us a little information. And be sure as a runner to order with the discount PUSH 250, all caps PUSH 250 for Gnarly products. You'll get that 20% discount. Again, Shannon, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for having me, Steve. You too. Take care.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, hopefully it's been a good, fun, educational day. We hope to see you at the training, at the trail work day on February 25th. Be sure to sign up via the Facebook event for that trail work day. And then we're going to camp out afterwards and go for a run on the Sunday, the 26th. And then be sure to sign up and register for the training run if you want to come out and go for a 37-mile little jaunt with us on April 1st. We'd love to join you. Any questions, you can email me at any time, steve@aravaiparunning.com. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you in May.